Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.
In this episode, I'm going to discuss what I refer to as karmic sidestepping. Now, we're in vibrational acceleration, a time of ascension. And that means that the pressure that has been on us collectively on the earth is only going to intensify. And this means that those people who either don't know to do the work or are refusing to do the inner work of integrating suppressed emotion and really working within themselves to clear all of their emotional density and kind of float to the surface more gracefully, those folks are going to start to unconsciously react more and more. And this means two things for you. This means first, to distance yourselves from, as much as is possible, to distance yourselves from large groups of people who are likely to be more unconscious, like things like concerts or rallies, where there are tons and tons of people. Unless it's like a super positive vibe, you really don't want to interact in those type of environments under these conditions. And then the other aspect is, do not allow yourself to get pulled into somebody else's karma or get karmically entwined in what somebody else is up to. Now, sometimes you're going to be stuck with people, and this might be karma that you're burning through, or you might be trying to break out of a situation karmically that has people, or, has put you in proximity to people who are reacting unconsciously. And you have to just, you always have to take each case and just do the absolute best you can. And definitely don't beat yourself up for being in a situation or finding yourself in a karmic loop. Instead, just take a break, give yourself a break. Know that you're always doing the best that you can, but pick a moment in time that you're going to try to karmically clear yourself and start working to do that. If you're in some sort of situation that's chaotic, your best bet, and you can't get out of it physically, your best bet is to start meditating. Make sure you're doing the work, the emotional work. If there is surfacing grief or loss or depression or rage or whatever, try to get it out of the body as best you can. Also, simultaneously and as the corollary, do a lot of meditation, as much meditation as you can, at least 15 to 20 minutes a day. And these things will definitely help to improve your circumstances and to create sort of a protective barrier around you, even if you're in the midst of chaos. But in general, you want to try to distance yourself and separate yourself from, pulping masses of unconscious people reacting to things. If you can, this is kind of dramatic, but if you can, I always recommend to people, if possible, to move out of the larger cities, even if you have to, to get to the suburbs. But, we just don't know what's coming down the pike, what's karmically, what's going to happen. And so it's always better to try to distance yourself as much as possible, to put yourself in the most peaceful environment that you possibly can. And definitely don't get pulled into other people's karma or their drama. Don't get caught up in gossiping or talking about somebody or arguing or bickering with people that don't see the truth of the reality of the world or whatever it is. They clearly don't see the truth and they're glued to the news. And you can't convince them of anything, or they're trying to, convince you of something. Just, oh, that's interesting. Thank you. And just gently step away. Don't engage. Don't try to prove anybody right or wrong. Just disengage. Try to karmically, neutrally disengage yourself. And in this way, you will be karmically sidestepping both mass events that could be coming down the pike, which could be deemed, from a surface level as very negative. And you will also be, not allowing yourself to get pulled into other people's karma or their drama. And there's another aspect, a facet of this that I should mention as well. And for those of you burning through karma, sometimes that means that the negative way, you have to allow the negative waves when they come back, you have to allow them to move through you without reacting to them. And for those of us on the ascension path and the heightened phases, this may look like people coming at you doing or saying insane things. And I'm not suggesting also that you drop your boundaries and let people get over on you. I'm saying to not react if somebody says or does something insane that's an exacerbated version of reality. Oftentimes, this is just you finishing out a karmic loop, right? And so, again, I want to emphasize that this isn't an opportunity. You're not allowing people to either physically cross boundaries or harm you or put you in jeopardy. What you're doing is, if somebody has some sort of reaction to you and suddenly is yelling and screaming at you for, no real reason, don't yell and scream back. Just, gently nod your head, smile and say, oh, interesting. And then, try to distance yourself and walk away. Allow that karmic loop to be done in that specific instance. So now I'm really saying, in essence, if I backpedal a little bit or I backtrack a little bit, I'm really actually saying three things. Number one, don't get pulled into other people's karma. Number two, don't immerse yourself in pulping masses of unconsciously reactive people. You do what you want to do. Follow your intuition. If you want to go to a concert and you feel in your own intuition says it's going to be uplifting and fun, by all means go. Always follow your own intuition. But in general, I recommend staying away from the large events and distancing yourself from large amounts of people during a time when more and more people are going to start to become unconsciously reactive. And then number three is to not unconsciously react if somebody is simply acting out a karmic event that you need to close the loop on. Transcend it and do not react to it. Just maintain neutrality, stand in your power, but maintain neutrality. And then, just gently say, okay, yeah, sure. And then walk away. And you don't need to interact with that person perhaps ever again. So this episode is about karmic sidestepping and about, just giving yourself the best chance of, getting through these next few weeks and months at the heightened stages of ascension, remaining relatively unscathed, and maybe even if, we can help it, prospering and thriving. All right? Okay. So that'll do it for this episode. Take good care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.